integrity. I gotta walk like a man. You better speak up when you talk to me. You better lift up your chin. I'm about to take over the globe. I got the whole world in my hand. I've been here before, that's the reason he sent me to do it all over again. I gotta keep my integrity. I gotta walk like a man. You better speak up when you talk to me. You better lift up your chin. I'm about to take over the globe. I got the whole world in my hand. I've been here before, that's the reason he sent me to do it all over again. Can't take you serious, you acting petty, making me laugh like Ed and Eddie. Run out the truth when things are too heavy, like Kevin Hart, he wasn't ready. I take a bullet, I die for my people. You pull the trigger just to get equal. Most of you people fall out cause it's hard. Take pressure like Job, I'm on my job. I can't believe it, in spiritual Egypt, my people are evil than ever before. They kill a nigga for chicken like damn, bruh, I can't even walk to the store. They be out here screaming, Jesus, I love you, when I know that it's so.
Since we got some time here, we're going to go over, for a lot of these brothers, to be your first one, memorial blowing trumpets. And then as time goes along, we'll do the Day of Atonement and Tabernacles. All right? So let's go over this real quick here. Give me Romans 15:4. I always like to start out with that. Romans 15:4. This is one of those scriptures you can use for proof that the Old Testament's never been done away with. Romans 15:4.
Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
So the scriptures was written for us because it would come a time that we would be detached from the word of God, and we would have to go back and learn the true way of how to worship God. Right? Give me that in John chapter 4. 23 and 24. We would have to go back and learn how to worship God all over again. And a lot of us, before we came in here, we all had that whatever imagination in our mind of how to worship God. 3 Hail Marys, count your rosary beads if you was Northern Kingdom or Levi. I don't know if they do that too. I know Judah have the little cross over your body. All kind of crazy stuff. Getting it tattooed on yourself. You thought you was worshiping God. It was all manner of craziness before we came in here. John 4, read 23-24.
John chapter 4 and verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
So they must worship him in spirit and in truth. And the hours come now. The hours in the last days. That's what we're in now. The hour has come that the Most High God requires that you must worship him in spirit and in truth. Let's deal with the spirit part first. Give me that in Psalms. Because it said worship him in spirit. I know a lot of times we go to the precepts that we known for. We know, the precepts of Romans 7. But let's deal with the spirit. Psalm chapter 5. Give me that in verse 11. What does it mean? Worship him in spirit. What does it mean? Let's read that. Psalms 5 and 11.
Psalms chapter 5 and verse 11. But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee.
Be what?
Be joyful in thee.
A part of worshiping him in the spirit means you must be joyful in the Lord. That's why we be on y'all, especially you sisters that come in here with the stank face. And never smile, just, music be on. You sit there like a daggone statue in Macy's. I remember one time we called y'all out on that, and we saw you. You thought we wasn't looking. You pulled your mask up over your face. You sitting there with stank look. Yeah. God says in the spirit you have to be joyful to serve the Lord. Give me that in, what else I got? Psalm 32, verse 11. Got to be joyful in spirit.
Psalms chapter 32 and verse 11. Be glad in the Lord.
Be what?
Be glad in the Lord.
Be glad in the Lord that you even got called into this truth, to even understand. Most people don't understand. The Bible in Job, it literally talks about if there be one among 1,000. Let's get that. Give me that in Job. I want to say Job 32. I'm shooting from the hip. Shooting from the hip here. Somebody give it to me. Job 32. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, Job 33. I was close. Job 33, and let's read verse 22 and 23 and 24. Yep, 22 through 24. Let's read that.
Job chapter 33, verse 22. Yea, his soul draweth near unto the grave, and his life to the destroyers.
That's all of us, especially you running them streets. You was one nightclub away from your soul being in the grave. One nightclub away, one stray bullet. We see the stuff. Yeah, this morning next door. They over there doing that. You're one nightclub away from being in the grave. One bad what's that, stepped on cocaine away from being in the grave. That's for they used to be drug dealers. One time smoking that cryptochrona like, and you end up like DMX in the grave. Yeah, one snort away, like the Michael something. He was I forget what he used to act on. What he used to act on? The Wire. Found overdosed in his hotel room or his apartment. You one snort, one club, one weed puff, one bullet away from the grave. Read on.
Verse 23. If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, somebody to explain the scriptures to him. Go ahead. One among 1,000.
How few is it that someone understands the Bible? Read it again.
If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among 1,000.
That's how few it is. That's how rare it is to come across the understanding of God. You are that one among the 1,000 that he said, you know what, I'm going to let them understand something. They might not understand everything, but Deuteronomy 28 and the laws is all they need. And then we'll sprinkle a little bit more as we go with feast days, right?
Could you read verse 24 also, Cap?
Yeah, we're going to it. Read that, verse 23 again.
If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among 1,000, to show unto man his uprightness, then he is gracious unto him.
God is gracious unto you to give you that understanding. It was by the grace of God that you stumbled across a YouTube video. It wasn't nothing you did. You might have asked God, but that was on him to even show it to you. He's gracious unto you. Read on.
Then he is gracious unto him and saith, deliver him from the going down to the pit.
Read it again.
Deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom.
I have found a ransom. That's why, go back to words we had, Psalms 32 and 11.
Psalms chapter 32, verse 11. Be glad in the Lord.
Be glad in the Lord. You was one day away, 1 year away from being in the grave. But God said, you know what? I found a ransom for them. Let me show you this. Go to James 1 and 18 just to back that up in Job. Bible is very repetitive. You'll see a precept one area, one place, it's guaranteed to be somewhere else. James 1 and verse 18.
James chapter 1 and verse 18. Of his own will begot he us with the word of truth.
There you go. God found a ransom for you. It ain't nothing that you did. He was gracious to you. His word begat you in the truth. Read.
Of his own will begot he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures.
Now go back to Psalms 32 and 11 and read that one more again.
Psalms chapter 32 and verse 11.
We're dealing with the Spirit, worshiping him in the Spirit. Let's read it.
Be glad in the Lord and rejoice, ye righteous, and shout for joy, all ye that are upright in heart.
So you got to be joyful. You got to be glad. Now give me Psalms 35 and verse 9.
Psalms chapter 35 and verse 9. And my soul shall be joyful in the Lord. It shall rejoice in his salvation.
So you got to rejoice in the Lord's salvation to come. That's what it's talking about. Worship me in spirit. Give me that in Sirach 43. We're just dealing with the spirit right now. Dealing with the spirit. Sirach 43, 28 through 30. So you got to be joyful in the salvation to come. Be glad you was one of the few to receive the understanding to save your life from the grave. Sirach 43, 28.
Sirach chapter 43 verse 28. How shall we be able to magnify him? For he is great above all his works. The Lord is terrible and very great, and marvelous is his power. When ye glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as ye can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when ye exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough.
So in order to love the Lord, to exalt him with all your strength, that got to come from within. That comes from the spirit within you. You can't fake that. You cannot fake that. Why? Because the Lord already got it written down that the countenance of a man shows what's on his mind. You see how the Lord is? The Lord said, yeah, you can might go to work and you can fake being at work for 20 years, but you can't fake it in here, because you got to be joyful. You got to rejoice and wait on my salvation to come.
And so, Cap, you say we can't fake it, but Israel will try to fake it.
They will try.
And the way that manifests is when you come into the sanctuary and you sit there and there's no works coming from you.
Yeah.
You're faking it. Or if you come in the sanctuary and you sit and say, well, I'm going to wait till they ask me to do something. Because Captain Severus went over that and Deacon went over that. That willing heart.
Right.
The Lord is actually looking for that willing heart in us. And that's how he knows, hey, they're in here faking it.
Good point. Good point. Willing heart. Give me that 2 Chronicles 25. Remember, so we read in Sirach that in order to serve the Lord with all your strength, that comes from the spirit within. That can't just be because, you know what? It says it, so I'll do it. Don't work like that with God. This book is a spiritual book. We are spiritual people wrapped in flesh. Right? Read that 2 Chronicles 25, 1 and 2. Let me give you this example here.
2 Chronicles chapter 25, verse 1. Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, but not with a perfect heart.
There you go. You can keep the laws because you're forced to. Your wife and your husband believe. Your husband and your wife believe, and that's why you here. You can keep the laws, but if it ain't genuine, the Lord will expose you. So you can keep it. You can keep it because you got to, but you ain't going to enjoy it unless your spirit is right, unless you worship in the Most High God in spirit. So you can keep them, but the Lord knows if you really are joyful and glad to do those laws. Give me that John 4. Let's go back to that. John chapter 4. Let's read 24 again.
John.
So if you're not at that point of you're joyful and glad and waiting upon the salvation to come, you better fast and pray for those things and find some. Just think about all where you came from, because even if you don't believe, you can't say you ain't got a better life with the commandments. I'll tell you that right now. None of us had a better life before these commandments. No, it was somewhere in your life when you examine it, you was doing something that brought stress, more stress than you needed on your life. Whether it was trying to keep up with the Joneses, chasing women, getting dogged out by men, you was on drugs, you was a drunk, your husband was a cheater, whatever it might have been, the laws of God corrected all of that and gave you some peace in your life. Your life went better before you found out about this truth, whether you believe or not. Read that, John 4:24.
John chapter 4 and verse 24. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Let's deal with the truth now. So we dealt with the spirit. It got to come from within. You got to be joyful. You got to be glad. Romans chapter 2 verse 20. Let's get the one in the New Testament, because we usually do the one in the Old Testament, but we want to have multiple precepts. Let's get that. Romans 2 verse 20.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 20. An instructor.
Hey, pull up the definition of memorial and hold it. But go ahead.
An instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge of the truth in the law.
Read it again.
An instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law.
Paul's telling you where the truth is. The truth is in the laws of God, right? So you have to worship him in your spirit. And it can't be false. It has to come from within, have to be joyful and really want to do that. And you must worship him through the laws. Here's one of the laws that he gave us. Leviticus 23. It was the feast of the memorial of trumpets. Leviticus 23. And let's go to verse, what I want to go to. I'm getting straight to the point. 23, 24.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24.
23, read 23.
Verse 23.
Yep.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of the trumpets, and holy convocation.
So the memorial of trumpets also falls on what day, brothers? What day does it fall on? It said it in the script. Read it again.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation.
So the new moon, I told you. New moon. Memorial of trumpet falls on the new moon also. Read 25.
Verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Now jump back up. Let me see. Was it in there? Work. Yep, that's fine. Pull up memorial, because it's memorial of blowing trumpets, right? Okay. Pull it up. Go to back out, click back, and go to Miriam's. It's already up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's check that out. There we go. Let's read that first one. That's all I need.
Definition of memorial: serving to preserve remembrance.
There you go. God wanted us to preserve the remembrance of the trumpets for a reason. So he said, have a feast day for the memorial of the trumpets. It's to preserve remembrance. Right? Let's go to Baruch 2. Let's read 30 through 32 of why we would have to remember that and what God would do.
Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30.
And we in the Apocrypha. Go ahead.
For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
So us celebrating the memorial of blowing trumpets is a sign that we are beginning to remember who we are. Because you never did this in Christianity. All you got is, what is that? Satan Day. They call, fix my mic. Satan Day, Christmas. That's Satan Day. Santa, Satan. And then they got Easter. That's it. That's about it. That's easy. That's good. Yeah, Good Friday is Easter. It's all the same. That's it. That's all you got. You don't remember who you are. That's why us doing this is us beginning to remember ourselves. Read on.
Verse 31. And shall know that I am the Lord their God, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear, And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name.
So us celebrating Memorial of the Trumpets is us praising the Lord because we're remembering who we are. Give me that in Exodus 19 now. Exodus 19. Why does God want us to remember the trumpets? Exodus 19. Let's read 10 and 11. We're going to jump around.
Exodus chapter 19 and verse 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes and be ready.
Wash your clothes. Let you know we wasn't the dirty people. Don't come in here dirty clothes, holes in your clothes, hair all over the place, and everything else smelling. Don't do it. God said, wash your clothes. All right, read on.
And be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that you go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death.
Shall be put to death. All right, jump up to verse 16. Read down.
Verse 16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet.
The voice of the what?
Of the trumpet.
The voice of the trumpet. Doing what?
Exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
So God wants us to remember the memorial trumpets. This is the first time we met God. Right? Because remember, this is us coming out of Egypt. We had been cut off from him. We didn't know him. He hadn't revealed himself unto us yet. He revealed himself to Moses and to Aaron, but not yet to the people. And he introduced himself to us through the trumpet, exceeding loud. Verse 17.
Verse 17. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. And they stood at the nether part of the mount.
That's the bottom. Go ahead.
And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long.
When the voice of the trumpet sounded long. Go ahead.
And waxed louder and louder. Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice.
Read.
And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount. And the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount. And Moses went up.
So remember, we have to remember, because remember, memorial trumpets, memorial, go back to that definition. It's a remembrance, to bring to remembrance. Pull it up in Merriam's, and I want to go to read the definition, then we're going to jump down to the synonyms again. Because God wants us to remember the first time that he introduced himself, or that we met him again coming out of bondage. Pull it up. So read that for me real quick, officer.
The definition of memorial: serving to preserve remembrance.
Preserve remembrance, the first time that we met him again. Go down. Right there. Oh, go up. Right there. Read that one.
Monument.
No, the definition of it.
Definition of memorial: something that keeps remembrance alive.
Keeps remembrance alive. This is what God wants us to remember. We remember stats. We remember old flings. We remember how sin feels. We remember all of that stuff. God wants us to remember the memorial of trumpets, blowing of trumpets. Now go to Exodus. Jump over Exodus 18. Read Exodus 20, verse 18 through 20.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 18.
Yep.
And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die.
That's how afraid they was when that trumpet was blowing. That's how loud it was. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not.
That ye what?
that ye sin not.
That's what the Most High wants us to remember, to sin not. Now go to Numbers chapter 10. So we first re-met God again. He brought the trumpet with him.
Numbers.
That's how he made himself known. It sent fear throughout all the people. Over 600,000 people was able to hear that trumpet. And it sent fear through everybody. Let's read Numbers 10 and 1.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 1.
What else was those trumpets for?
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Make thee 2 trumpets of silver. Of a whole piece shalt thou make them.
So when we was with the ones that were, it was different levels of trumpets. The special ones, God said, make those of pure silver. A lot of us have the ones that are made out of the shofar, right? The ram's horn. But these special ones that was for the people, God said, make these out of silver. Read on.
That thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly and for your journeying of the camps.
So they was made, the trumpets was made to assemble the congregation, right? For different reasons. It's going to say why. Read on.
And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
So when you be seeing those movies of them Greeks, they be blowing the horns and symboling war and things of that nature. They got that from us. There wasn't nobody else doing that. That came from us, and they emulated our heritage and took it upon themselves and made it theirs. But it came from us. Read on.
Verse 4. And if they blow but with one trumpet, then the princes which are the heads of the thousands of Israel shall gather themselves unto thee.
So one trumpet means the leaders you come. Go ahead.
When ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward.
Now this is where you know we disconnected, because we don't have an idea of what an alarm from a trumpet sounds like. We don't know it. You can't even guess. You don't know it all. But the Lord going to give those things back to us as he restores our heritage to us. Read on.
When ye blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm.
Now, I'm gonna do a little class on this. But did anybody pick up what God called camps? Camps. What did he call those? Who knows? Anybody raise their hand, show a hand? What did he call them? Officer Luke. What did he call a camp? There go Mike.
Armies.
Wrong. Brother ain't reading the Bible. Where we at? Hold on. Brother be looking at the Bible, not reading. Active listening.
Congregation.
Congregations. A camp is a congregation. Remember that message. Yeah, he deep, brother. I don't do camps. Okay. All right. There's precepts on that. We ain't going to go over that. We short on time. All right. The congregation. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations.
Throughout your generations. God restored those things back to us. Now, what else was that trumpet for? Read on.
And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
We blow the trumpets up when we at camp. You see, it was a sign between to alert the angels. We was about to go to war. We got the sword in our hand, and we're about to go to war. We need you to help us fight against the imaginations of the people around us. And God said, ye shall be saved from your enemies. At that time, it was physical. Now we're in the spiritual war. Same rules still apply, though, with the trumpet. Let's see. Read on.
Verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months.
So in the day of your gladness, your solemn days, which will go into what? Feast days. And in the beginning of your months, which is the name of what, brothers? New moon. Do what?
You shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
When we sacrifice, we blew up the trumpets. Now no longer it's the animals, but who's the sacrifice, brothers? We are. So the trumpets still apply on feast days. Read on.
and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God.
God said, make this a remembrance throughout your generations. Now, go to 2 Chronicles. The memorial of blowing trumpets. 2 Chronicles chapter 5. And let's start at verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 3 and we're going to jump.
2 Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 1. Thus all the work that Solomon made for the house of the Lord was finished, and Solomon brought in all the things that David his father had dedicated, and the silver and the gold and all the instruments put he among the treasures of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion.
So the temple was finished, made by Solomon, full of gold everywhere. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Wherefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast, which was in the 7th month.
Which was when?
In the 7th month.
A feast that was in the 7th month. So it was either what? Memorial of Trumpets or what? What was the other one? When? What, brothers? Memorial of Trumpets. What other feasts are in the 7th month? All right, there you go. Tabernacles. We know it wasn't Day of Atonement because you read on, he gave out food. Milk, brothers. Milk goes into the laws of the history, all right? So it was on one of those. We know it was in the 7th month that he dedicated the temple. Jump down to verse 11. Let's see what they was doing.
Verse 11. And it came to pass, when the priests would come out of the holy place, for all the priests that were present were sanctified and did not then wait by course. Also the Levites.
Can you start reading like you're in Christian church?
Also the Levites.
You read like the Pastor Geno Jennings, man. Read, man.
Yes, sir. Also the Levites, which were the singers.
Now the Levites really want you to read this. Yeah. I'll tell you, Lord took that away from y'all. We don't want y'all to sing right now at all. Only Adina. That's it. The rest of y'all, quiet. All right, read that again, verse 12.
Also the Levites, which were the singers, all of them of Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun, which their sons and their brethren, being arrayed in white linen,
go ahead,
having cymbals and psalteries and harps, stood at the east end of the altar, and with them 120 priests.
120 priests did what?
Sounding with trumpets.
Doing what?
Sounding with trumpets.
So to dedicate the temple of God, when Solomon had got done building it, they were singing and blowing the trumpets in a musical way that Soldier Paul, do something, man. Make some music with some trumpets in it, man. Rehearse the righteous acts. Lyle, where you at? Oh, we need a Levite.
I might be Levite in the spirit.
With the fast and pray.
I'll get on that track, no problem.
Oh, all right. What's your name?
No,
Papa Levi. Yeah, get Papa Levi on there. So it was 120 priests sounding with trumpets. Read on.
Verse 13, it came even to pass, as the trumpeters and singers were as one.
They was as one. So them, when they was blowing them trumpets, they had some rhythm to those things. Harmony. It wasn't just like we be. Y'all know how it sounds. We rehearsing the righteous acts, though. We're going to get back to that. But they was singing it as one. So that was that was beautiful sound. It was at one Tabernacles a few years ago. It was one brother that was so good. I don't know what camp he's at. It was in Atlanta, right? That brother, his trumpet was so loud, you can hear it from one side to the other camp, and he was playing notes, musical notes, and it woke up the whole body that was out there. We woke up to the trumpets during Tabernacles. It was beautiful. It was like, man, this feels like the kingdom. Bishop was? Yeah. It was beautiful, man. All right, read that again, verse 13.
It came even to pass, as the trumpeters and singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking the Lord. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and cymbals and instruments of the music and praised the Lord, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. That then the house was filled with a cloud, even the house of the Lord.
Now remember what we read in Numbers 10. When you blow the trumpet, who shows up? What do we read in Numbers 10? When you go to war, you blow what, brothers? And ye shall be remembered of the Lord. They blew the trumpets and the Lord showed up. That's what is that? Ain't no dial tone with God. Just blow the trumpet. That's what you got to do. Ain't no nope, he don't hear that. That's Esau's technology. Yeah, blow the trumpet to get God's attention. It says, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. That then the house was filled with a cloud, even the house of the Lord. Read on.
Verse 14. So that the priest could not stand to minister by reason of the cloud.
Dang, all that power came down, boy. That's why he said in Isaiah 47, when he returned, I shall not meet thee as a what, brothers?
Man.
Man, now you understand whenever the angels showed up in front of people. What did most people do when the angels showed up? Show of hands. What happened? Officer Phillip. Give him the microphone. What happened when
they was afraid? They was like, hey, this is a serious
They was
dude.
afraid. That was one thing. Officer Luke, what was the other thing?
They fainted.
They fainted. You read Daniel, when the angel showed up, he fell dead. The angel had to pick him up. Like, hey, man, listen, I got something to tell you. That's how much power they coming with. That's why Christ, when he said, come back, I will not meet thee as a man. Christ is going to have to make them fight him for them to even have a chance. When we show up, everything hit the ground. That's power. Read that again, verse 14.
So that the priests could not stand to minister by reason of the cloud. For the glory of the Lord had filled the house of God.
Filled the house of God. Man, that's nice right there. Make you feel good right there, boy. All right, Matthew 24. So brothers that don't have a trumpet, man, now you see the reasons behind those things. Even if you can't blow it, get you one. Captain Car got problems blowing one. I've been having blowing one for years, man, but I got one. You got the what's the differences in them? You got the rams, the short one, ram's horn, and then the shofar, right? Yeah, we don't. Yeah, just ram's horn, and then the shofar. You got two different ones to pick from. Matthew 24. Let's read 29 on down.
Matthews chapter 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
Go to Deuteronomy real quick, because it says immediately after the tribulation. Christianity thinks that at the end is going to be, a whole happening of events, and then the sun going to be blotted out, and ain't what it's talking about. Deuteronomy 32, I believe it is. I'm shooting from the hip here. Let's see. Let's see if I'm in that word here. Oh, is it 30? Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's see. Maybe it's 4. Deuteronomy 4. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 29 and 30. The tribulation ain't gonna come like the movie say, like all of a sudden some meteor's on the way to Earth and everybody turns into the Walking Dead and start killing just for canned good of food. That's not what it's talking about. Read that, Deuteronomy 4. Let's read verse 29 on down.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 29. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him. If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
All thy soul, read.
When thou art in tribulation.
When thou art in tribulation, read.
And all these things that are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shall be obedient unto his voice.
Read.
For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the
covenant of thy fathers, which we swear unto them.
So the tribulation been started since we got removed out of the land. So what is Christ talking about? Immediately after the tribulation, when the prophecies have been fulfilled, then what's going to happen? Go back to Matthew 24:29.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
He's prophesying about World War III. Read.
And the stars shall fall from heaven.
That's the satellites.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
That's talking about the governments. Read.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
See the Son of Man coming in clouds with power and great glory. Read on.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So that's going to let you know again, the trumpet is going to be what? Exceeding loud. Now, who can pick up what Christ is putting down right here through the scriptures? We read it earlier already in Exodus. Let's see who got active listening and can put them together. Officer Relay. Let's see what you got. Pass the mic up to him. I want to see what he got. Let's see if you can pick up what we put down between these two.
Shalom. Back in Exodus 19, God met us when he blew the trumpet. So in Matthew 24, Christ is going to meet us again when he blows the trumpet.
Okay. You got some lamb, no bitter herb. He's right. He ain't wrong, but it's something else that we need to. All right, let's give it to Elijah back there, the black shirt. Let's see. He raised his head. All right. Let's see. Let's see if you pick it up what Christ is putting down.
Shalom, sir.
Shalom. What you got?
Wartime.
No. Pass it back. Black shirts. This is beyond you. Bless your heart, but y'all ain't ready for this. Purple shirts. It ain't hard. Officer Samuel. Give it Officer Samuel. I ain't gonna let y'all, keep throwing out stuff in there. What is it right here?
Oh, excuse me. Well, it says when the trumpet was blown, we knew when to move, when the Lord was around. So when we hear the trumpet in the last days, we know our Savior is here.
Okay, it's time to go, right? That's a part of the remembrance.
And the angels hear that too. They know it's time to come get us.
But that ain't it either. Anybody else? One more. Officer Samuel. Shem. What you got? Last one.
This is going to be another ceremony that we're going to remember.
Okay. All of y'all are somewhat there. Can anybody give me 1 Corinthians 10 for $1,000? Not on the Sabbath, though. After the Sabbath, you can put it in the alms for the school. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Let's read 1 through 4.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1.
Yep.
Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea.
So he's letting you know the Corinthians are Israelites that walked out through the Red Sea with Moses. Go ahead.
And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ.
Who was that in the wilderness, brothers?
Christ.
So, back in Matthew 24, what are we reading? Who can put it together? Let's see. Hosanna. Let's see. Hosanna got it. Let's see. Black shirt. Just say it.
That Christ's going to come back. Okay? They're going to lead the way again.
He's going to lead the way again. So that means what, though? You right. Let's see. Who can put it together? Who can help out the brother? Officer Luke, you already tried. Officer Eliab. What does that mean? Oh, gosh. Officer Luke.
That Christ is our Redeemer. Basically, he redeemed us.
Oh, gosh. Officer Rely. It ain't hard, y'all. Y'all know it.
Christ going to blow the trumpet again like he did in the wilderness.
There you go. That was Christ that met us on the mountain. Gosh, brothers, y'all know that. We went over those scriptures a lot of times before. That was Christ that talked with us on the Colossians chapter 1. It's like it's a Colossians 1:15 on down, right? Y'all cutting into my time. I'm trying to get through this. Go ahead.
Colossians chapter 1 and verse 15. Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him.
All things were created by him. Read on.
Verse 17. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist.
So when you are in the Old Testament reading, who's that actually talking to Moses, brothers? Christ. There you go. Go back to Matthew chapter 24. Christ is going to tell you how he's going to introduce himself to the people of Israel again, just like he did when we came out of Egypt the first time. He's going to do it again in what Egypt? Which Egypt is this, brothers? Babylon. Spiritual Egypt. The Bible's repetitive. Put it together, y'all. Pick up what God's putting down. All right, read it again. Matthew 24:31.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other.
So when Christ talked to us in the wilderness, the same way he's going to talk to us again. He's going to blow the trumpet and be like, it's time to go. But it's something different, something added on this time that he didn't do the first time. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and read 13 on down.
1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
He's talking about those that die in Christ, right? We're not going to prevent them. Read on.
Verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God.
With the what?
With the trump of God.
Read.
And the dead in Christ shall rise first.
So, listen to this. The trumpet is so important that only those that have rehearsed the righteous acts of the memorial of blowing the trumpets, when they dead, they are the only ones that's going to be able to get up when they hear the trumpet. That's right. So if you don't rehearse the righteous acts, it's just going to sound like what to you? Noise. But if you rehearse the righteous acts of the feast day before the second coming of Christ, even in the grave, when you hear that sound, you're going to know what? It's time to go. Hey, it's time to go. The grave can't hold me no more. Because I read it when I was in the flesh, that when I hear the trumpet, that means it's time to go. God, Christ is assembling the congregation once again, and I can't miss my ride. I must obey. I got to get up out of here, brothers. Sorry for the wicked. Y'all can stay here. But I rehearse the righteous acts. It's time for me to wake up.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.